And Daniele is now live with us from Gaza. And Daniele, how is the situation now?
Yes, today the calm reigns in Gaza and also in the southern part of Israel. The conflict seems as if now not to being on its way back. Fortunately, the ceasefire is holding. This is merit also of the Egyptian mediation, but also about the fact that yesterday on the border it was not too much of a tough wave of protest. Rumors have it that Hamas and other political organizations active within Gaza requested to protesters and Palestinians going to show and not to try too much to push forward towards the border in order to avoid casualties and to avoid to create a further escalation. But when we speak about Gaza, calm is always uneasy, is always very fragile. For instance, in the hours of the morning, a Palestinian farmer was shot and injured in his leg in the eastern part of Gaza. This happened because Israeli soldiers perhaps saw that he was too close to the fence. Israel sent a few bulldozers a few hundred meters inside Gaza in order to assess the damage and to assess if the fence needs any possible repairing work. This is the life in Gaza. This is happening on a daily basis. The media treat these and take care of these when there are big waves on protests. But in the life of a person in Gaza, even being a farmer, too close to the fence can cost you a bullet injury.
Right, Daniele, but in the recent months we have seen the border protests turn very violent and deadly, but despite the escalation yesterday seemed to be under control. How?
Yes, perhaps in order to understand why yesterday the wave of protest was not terribly violent, which is good news on both sides, we would need to understand what happened politically means also for Hamas. Hamas thinks that they had a victory. They definitely conducted a victorious action. On Sunday night, they spotted an Israeli vehicle inside Gaza. Gaza is the territory where they have been elected, where they rule. They are holding the position in the government, so Gaza is territory of Hamas. They spotted an Israeli commando inside their territory, which in any other country in the world would amount as an act of war. They responded, then Israel responded, but then the earthquake within the Israeli political world happened. Mr. Lieberman, the now former defense minister of Israel, resigned, and Hamas treated this as their own success and considers the earthquake within the Israeli government, which may face election way sooner than expected, a victory. So if yesterday the protest would have gone terribly wrong and would have been terribly violent, this would have provided perhaps an excuse to Israel to retaliate. So Hamas played politics and decided that it was worthier to request to the protesters not to push their hand too much and not to go too much forward closer to the fence.
Right, but how are things now on the Israeli side? Is it really as bad as we are getting reports that it is?
Yes, I indeed define what is happening within the Israeli political establishment, an earthquake. Why so? Well, now the post of Ministry of Defense is vacant. There is a Mr. Bennett, who is the Ministry of Education, who is very much willing to put his hands on the defense portfolio. He already wanted it since a long time, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu does not want to give him too much. He's a representative of a very far-right Jewish section of the Israeli political society, so it would be conceding a lot on the right. Now the Prime Minister of Israel will face perhaps very early elections. It seems inevitable that this will happen, and he will have to battle very hard. The opposition parties already said that they are unwilling to join any last-minute coalition in order to save the government. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that rumors about early elections are absolutely fake, and that he is trying everything he can to hold on to the government. But facts seems to play on another sort of game, and it seems that early elections for Israel are inevitable. This means that what happened in Gaza generated an earthquake within the Israeli political society, which will take time in order to heal and in order to find a way out.